we do have three very qualified and I hope interesting people who will be sharing things with you this morning. Christopher Duque is a 30-year veteran of the Honolulu Police Department who retired in 2007. His last assignment with the police department was with the White Collar Crime Unit, where he specialized in cybercrime investigations and computer forensics. Detective Duque is still considered and recognized as one of Hawaii's leading computer and internet crimes investigators. He has conducted investigations on trafficking of child pornography, identity theft, various forms of internet fraud, hacking and network intrusion cases, harassing and threatening cases, and child exploitation cases. He was, in 1999, instrumental in obtaining federal funding to form the Hawaii Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. He has been recognized as Detective of the Year and was also nominated as Employee of the Year for the City and County of Honolulu. He has provided training for a number of other law enforcement personnel and agencies, and is a member of the High Technology Crime Investigators Association. And he was awarded the FBI's 2008 Directors Community Leadership Award. So he's got a lot of experience in this area. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the other two speakers to you as well. Lauren Mark is a graduate assistant for the School Internet Safety Initiative at the Curriculum Research and Development Group at the University of Hawaii. She has been studying cyberbullying since 2007. She has published a paper on cyberbullying and is waiting future publications on other cyber safety topics. Ms. Mark is a Phi Beta Kappa from the University of Washington, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology. She completed a Master's in Educational Psychology at the University of Hawaii in 2009 and is currently working toward a PhD in Educational Psychology. And our third speaker is Ms. Fawn Liebengut, currently an Educational Specialist at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She is responsible for data collection, management, and analysis for the school internet, excuse me, for the School Internet Safety Initiative. She also evaluates education, literature, and research, writes reports on current and future education research needs. Currently, she is conducting a study on sexting in the adult versus adolescent population. Ms. Liebengut earned her BA in psychology from the University of Hawaii at Manoa in 2010. She's taking graduate courses in social psychology at present. Her professional experience includes internet safety workshops and presentations, undergraduate and graduate statistics instruction, and data collection and management. Ms. Liebengut joined the University of Hawaii at Manoa in 2010 after spending the last 5 years as a lead data analyst, education research affiliate, and research assistant in Honolulu and Los Angeles. And I am going to turn it over to them.
Morning, everyone. Or should I say aloha? I want to first thank Judith for inviting me, but I'm kind of upset, not so much as her, but Antonio for putting me on the spot this morning. I walked in the door and then Judith told me, oh, you know what, there was some issues with the scheduling. Antonio is on a flight now to the mainland, and guess who gets to lead the charge? So I was about to make a about face and go out the door and say, I'm going to join her on her flight, you know. But anyway, so today's presentation is very informal. Basically, my two cohorts over here, I've worked with these ladies for several years now on cyberbullying issues and cyber safety issues. They're with the University Lab School up in Manoa. And their leader here, she's not here present, Dr. Chuck Newen. And she is, when it comes to cyber safety, digital citizenry, she's the #1 personnel in Hawaii, and pretty much the Pacific Basin to contact. My experience and my background is, like Julia had mentioned, is basically law enforcement. All the okay. You guys can hear me if I just talk in a regular voice. Oh, you gotta talk to Mike. Linda, tell me, use the mic. Use the mic. Okay. So if I trip over this cord, you know whoever's fault it is. Anyway, my background is law enforcement, and how I work with these ladies is that I'm their guinea pig and their test. I go out in the field to verify and validate their research material. And then they contact me on the other side of the coin, is I see things that's happening out on the streets, what I get from the kids, what I get from the families, what I get from my partners in law enforcement. And I pass it on to them, and they kind of work that out into their numbers. So we complement each other. And the scary part about it, not so much, well, not really scary part about it, is that we sort of support each other in the statistics. Their numbers shows what I see in the street, and what I see in the street, I can validate with the numbers. So if I'm talking to a bunch of people who want to know numbers, I got these ladies to support me. And then if these ladies talk to their audience, and they ask, well, you're basically a bunch of lab rats, and you got all this information, from your research, I can support their statistics. So that's how we complement each other. So anyway, I'm supposed to be doing what Antonio is doing right now. I don't have PowerPoint presentation and so forth. I'm not an expert in teen suicide. I tell you that right now. I'm after the fact, which I don't like to be. I don't want to be, and that's why I'm in this business of education and awareness, because during my time in law enforcement, there are many times and occasions, unfortunate occasions, where I have to come onto the scene and a child has been victimized. I mean, seriously hurt, or I'm at the morgue. I don't want to be in that position anymore. I'm tired of that. And the only way I can prevent that from happening is getting out to the public, especially to the parents. Okay? So that's why I went on somebody told me, hey, Chris, you're on some kind of jihad right now, right? When I was in law enforcement, I'd go out and start talking to the families about risks and dangers they face online. Because I was sick and tired of seeing our keiki being victimized. So anyway, just to let you know where I'm coming from. So, but teen suicide, like I said, I can tell you after the fact. Now, you can draw whatever conclusions about how teen suicide and cyberbullying are related. But when you hear my point of view, my perspective, it's going to be a little bit different from what some of the statisticians, some of the research say. I'm going to put it out right now that cyberbullying is not the only reason kids commit suicide. It may be the straw that broke the camel's back. A good example. Let's see what happened. Last week, Monday, okay, find out that my wife is using my credit card, and there's a big bill, and they're gonna affect our credit rating. So I'm very upset about that. Then I find out that one of my vendors that I do computer forensic work, they think they're gonna limit their spending, so they're gonna do all their forensics in-house. So I'm gonna be losing annually about $15,000 a year. That's on Tuesday. Wednesday, I find out my nephew, who is unmarried, who's living in our extended household, is going to have his number 3 son. He has a 5-year-old and he has a 3-year-old. And guess who takes care of those 2 nephews where he's gallivanting on the women's side? Uncle Chris. That's the 3rd day. 4th day, I'm tired of all these family issues, so I'll go on a binge. Okay, on Thursday. Stay out all night with my buddies, cavorting and drinking and doing whatever. 2 o'clock in the morning, I get home, I get home, and I remember, oh, I got an appointment at 6 o'clock. Okay, so I get up in the morning, coming on the women's side, and somebody cuts me off. I get a little call, I have to stop, I look at the guy's face, I'm ready to reach him and come out through the side view rear window. Not because he rolls up his window. That's road rage, right? Wrong. All those 4 things from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday led up to that. I guarantee if I never had those issues, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday would never happen. Same thing when we think about cyberbullying. Okay? The children who commit suicide, from my experience now, are the ones who have other things in their life. And the bullying issue is maybe the one that has, that really throws them over the edge. So don't make it, a lot of times, media. Anybody from the media here? I'm currently in the media, other than I guess who filmed me. Okay. Not to say the media is bad, not to say it's good, A lot of times they come to quick conclusions. Kid commits suicide, finds out they've been bullied. Hey, bully side. How do you know it was bully side? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the child was thinking about committing suicide way ahead of the fact that they've been bullied. Maybe they had some issues with some chemical substance abuse. The only way you're gonna find out is, hello, Melissa, I know she committed suicide. Why did you commit suicide? You're never gonna know. You never will know. When people commit suicide, whether they're kids or adults, you're never gonna know until you meet them in a hereafter and ask them, what do you do that for? Okay? So, anyway, this is very informal. Like I said, you can ask us questions. We're going to try and answer it. And because we're experts, you're not going to really be telling you the truth or not, or BSing you. But we're going to make it, entertaining as well as educational. So, but be free to ask questions. But those who heard me present before, you all know that I have PowerPoint presentations, which I very rarely follow. Okay, I make it mainly for my host. My 2 important slides is usually the ones who come right after this. My contact information. Okay, that's the best way, because the best way is to contact me. I'm going to show you my face. I got a live connection here. I didn't hack into any sites or whatever. I'm not using free Wi-Fi either. I'm using my own account. I don't trust free Wi-Fi, but I have an internet connection, and I'll show you my Facebook fan page, Cyber Safety 808. Okay, and you guys you don't have to friend me. You can just bookmark it, just visit. I got no life other than doing this. Okay, really, I got no life to do this. I post 3 o'clock in the morning. I post 3:30 in the morning. I post as late as 1 o'clock at night. So if I'm posting 1 o'clock at night and 3:30 in the morning, that leaves 2.5 hours. Who gets some shut up? Okay. I just load up a caffeine, Red Bull, Mountain Dew, and water. Okay. This morning. Anyway, so you're gonna get as much of this presentation today from what you guys asked. Because what the girls and I want you guys to walk away with something that you didn't know when you walked in regarding cyberbullying or teen suicide. Okay? But if you guys don't ask questions, we assume you guys are experts and you should be up here talking. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to start off with the cyberbullying definitions, maybe. Okay, that's my contact information. Remember the third line, the fourth line in brackets. Okay, don't call them. They're gonna get very upset. But if you tell them it's very important, they'll page me, they'll text me, they'll email me. And that's my email. It's aikea808@gmail.com. That's my Facebook account. The easiest way is to email me. It's on my signature. So email me, icare808@gmail.com. And that's my Twitter account on cybersafety 808. I hate to write, I hate to type, you know. Being 30 years in law enforcement, you spend more time writing than being on the street. I hate writing. If I gotta write more than 5 lines, I would say, give you a number, call me, and let's talk story. Okay? And that's why I tell people on the mainland, hey guys, I'm tired of talking. Call me up, let's talk story. And if I need to explain more, here's Starbucks, you know, meet me there. It's my extended office. Okay, the internet is an extraordinary tool for boundless use, and it's only limited by the imagination of its users. Of course, our users can be someone who's on the good side or somebody on the dark side. We don't blame the technology, okay? Okay, reality check. Coming from a cop, okay, not everything can be resolved by calling law enforcement. There's a lot of things, not only in cyberspace, but in the world in general, that's not the kuleana of law enforcement. It's not their responsibility, really. Law enforcement is guided by the revised statutes. For Hawaii, that means Hawaii, Honolulu County, Maui County, Hawaii, Kauai County. It's guided by the Hawaii revised statutes. If it's not identified in the law books as criminal, then that's not really their kuleana. Okay, and that's the thing. How many educators do we have here? Okay, you guys guided by Chapter 19. Okay, there are issues, there's definitions, or there's things in Chapter 19 which defines there's certain type of activity is a violation in Chapter 19. However, law enforcement does not enforce Chapter 19. It's the teachers. And a lot of times that's why the problem comes up, where issues of cyberbullying and regular bullying, there's some miscommunication between law enforcement and the school administrators of when to call law enforcement, and when not to. Luckily, we are getting to some kind of communication, you could say, liaison right now, where we can communicate and we can understand where we stand, what the issues are. But again, to me, the last resort is calling 911. Okay? Most of the stuff that comes to about bullying, in fact, I'd say 80 to 90% of all the bullying has to be resolved other than calling law enforcement. Okay? Law enforcement is the safety net. When everything else fails, hopefully law enforcement can call in, but that's when the lawmakers have to get on board, because law enforcement cannot act if there's no laws, right? Second, having a law doesn't mean jack to one cop. If they don't give us the resources to enforce the law to protect you folks. What good is having a law when the officer is not getting paid, they don't have equipment, they don't have training, and and the judges and the courts and the penal system don't understand and don't have the resources. So just having a law on the law books, it's like a pit bull without teeth. Unless you arm law enforcement, the courts, and corrections with the resources to follow up, okay? That's my perspective again. And I'm very, very opinionated. Okay, these are the several ways of how incidents, whether they're online or in cyberspace, how they can be resolved. Social, personal relationships, administrative actions, civil proceedings, or criminal prosecution. When it comes to cyberbullying, when it comes to bullying, it may not even get to that far as criminal prosecution. It may just be maybe civil proceedings. But what are you going to do? Have kids sue kids? Families sue each other? Administrative actions, that's where Chapter 19 comes in, okay, involving the schools. But what happens if, what school you? Roosevelt. Who's the other educator? Okay, I go to school. Anybody from the school? Roosevelt, okay. Roosevelt, he's a teacher at Roosevelt. I'm a teacher, and I'm the principal at Farrington. They're bullying each other, my student and their students, two different schools. Chapter 19, I believe, does not have anything to say, suggest, or have ways to resolve cyberbullying that happens off campus or between different schools. What if I'm a private school and that's a public school, and the bullying or the cyberbullying happens off campus? Nothing, right? And if the cyberbullying is not, or the bullying is not criminal, just name calling. Name calling is a form of bullying. Is it against the law? I was going to pick on our politicians because it's an electoral year, but I see one of our lawmakers in the House. I'm going to bite my tongue. Usually I don't. I just get it myself. Well, you wait. After a while, I'm going to slip up and say something. But that's what I mean. Civil proceedings and immediate action. So a lot of the times, the bullying issues have to be resolved between social and personal relationships, between the victim and the perpetrator, between the family of the victim and the family of the perpetrator. And somebody had to come in between and mediate. Okay? Who's going to do it? Are the teachers are required to do it? Depends. Is it law enforcement? Hey, they got a lot on their plate already. If they can, they will. I know these guys, I know these gals. If they can, they will. But they're so, under-equipped and unmanned. They only can do so much. You got the social workers, you got you folks as teen advocates, youth advocates. That's where you folks come into play. But you got to understand that, a lot of times, you cannot go with the criminal prosecution. Okay, what is cyberbullying? The use of computer and or telecommunication technology to intimidate another person. That's it. That's what cyberbullying is. It can be a laptop, desktop, cell phone, or an internet service. Okay? And who can be a victim? Students. Usually that's what we think about, students versus students. But I had cases where it's student versus teachers. Just before I left the department in 2007, I had one of my partners handle a case where a teacher was being cyberbullied by a former 4th grade student. Okay? Still continues today. When you have teachers, you're a great target for the students. One of the things they do is that, what's your first name? Reggie. Reggie's a teacher in his class, okay? I'm going over there and antagonize him. So I'm gonna let him blow up in the classroom. My buddy gonna be there with his cell phone, record that and put him on YouTube and make Reggie famous. That's what the kids do. That's how they victimize teachers, coaches, parents of the other people, other students. So parents can be victims, anyone. And who can be a perpetrator? Same. We always think students, you know what? We get adults cyberbullying. We get adults bullying. One of the biggest things, it's so ironic that it's only coming in news about, adults bullying. I mean, you always think when it comes to bullying, kids. We get bullying in all facets of life. And oftentimes we do it and we don't know we're bullying. I see Senator Whiteman, yep. Go down to the square building in Punch Bowl, you see political bullying. You go into one family scenario, we get familial bullying. Brother and sister and brother, parents, spouses, what we call domestic abuse. Or when they make connection, physical connection, yeah. But there's also domestic abuse where they psychologically abuse you. Okay? And that's how you can prove that in court. You're walking by every morning, you just look at your wife, just give them a look. She look at me funny. I got something wrong with my eye. I got an eye doctor, medicine, I got something wrong, I got cataract, I try to look at that. So I look like I give him a stink eye. But bullying, okay, don't think bullying is only kid stuff. Is cyberbullying a crime? No. Not in the state of Hawaii. Okay? And then if you know, like I said, I'm gonna let the other girls talk, and then you can ask me about, you know, what our, you know, opinions or what our comments on if it should be a crime or not. It always comes to that, my favorite word, it depends. But is it a crime in the state of Hawaii? Currently not. Currently not. But there are laws already on the books that can be applied to various forms of cyberbullying. So my take on that is, why create laws when there are already laws that we can be used? Okay? Spend our time and our taxpayers' money on something else that's not there on the books. Examples of cyberbullying, okay? Not in any, well, actually it is in a particular order. Impersonation, threats, insults, teasing, taunting, name calling, rumors and lying, disclosure, defacing profile, and unwanted, unsolicited contact. These are various forms of cyberbullying. The most prevalent form is impersonation. Okay? Impersonation. That's not only in Hawaii, not only in the United States, but worldwide. Impersonation. Let me see, who will pick up? Janelle over there. Pick on Janelle. Janelle is one of my classmate. She's always getting. She's the prima donna of my class. I'm the wallflower. Okay, so I'm kind of jealous of her, and usually that's the scenario. Kids are jealous of each other. So I'm gonna create a Facebook account because of Janelle. Put her picture, all her personal information, because we're classmates. And I'm pretty much gonna know where she lives, who she hang out with, what her favorite color is, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna make a Facebook account. And then I'm gonna start making comments and start slamming my teachers, all the other students, coaches, and everybody. And I would use obscene language. Okay? I do that on a Friday night. Janelle goes to school on a Monday morning. She's gonna be the most popular girl in school. Right? That's right. Impersonation. That's the most prevalent form of cyberbullying. You know, impersonation. Somebody creates a profile or identity, purports to be that individual, and have unwanted attention drawn to that individual. Okay. Very first case documented in the state of Hawaii of cyberbullying via impersonation, 1998. Victim was not a child. Victim was a 71-year-old Asian male. Guess who was the local detective that handled that case? There was no law in place at that time. 1998. 10 years later, 2008, they made impersonation on the internet a criminal offense. Waited 10 years for that to happen. 10 years. Okay, but impersonation in the state of Hawaii, it is a crime. But it can lead to dangerous situations. Ladies especially. Guys too. Women. Somebody impersonate you, saying that this is you, so and so, you live in this certain place, you work here, you drive this car, here's your cell number, here's your work number. I'm gonna be at this place having dinner at a conference, you know, I'm into this type of sexual activity. Just come up and introduce yourself. It happens. It happens a lot. Men, you get accused as being a pedophile. Teachers, coaches, policemen. Impersonation. Threats, okay? Threats, it's against the law. Flat out. But it has to be grammatically correct, okay? You have to be, you know, like that. It has to be grammatically correct. What's your name, bro? Rod, I will kill you. That's a threat. I think somebody should kill Rod. That's not a threat. Rod, you should die. That's not a threat. Hey, a big safe should fall from Ala Moana building right on your head and smash you into the concrete. That's not a threat. Reggie, shoot him. Now that's solicitation to commit murder. That's a crime. And when the threat is made victim feel threatened, please, so I can arrest the perpetrator. Now, like how many times I get on case, oh, I can lick them. What you made a police report for? The principal. I don't arrest people on principle, folks. Okay. Threats has to be. Now, this is something that's a lot of times the lawmakers and law enforcement need and a community need to get a grasp of, is that when we talk about cyberbullying, it's not has to be a direct relationship, third party. Most of these incidents of cyberbullying, it's using a medium that serves as the vehicle to do the bullying. For instance, here's the bulletin board, okay? And I post something that Chris Duque is homophobic, blah, 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 you know. So people read that, they react to that when they see Chris Duque. Reggie posted that. It's not to, he didn't direct it to me. He wanted you folks to react to this posting negatively to me. A lot of times when we're creating laws and we're addressing cyberbullying, we're always thinking about, I'm getting harassed. Typical harassment, the true harassment according to a law book, is I go to Joe and it's one-to-one. It's not I'm using this here to get to her. And that's the way a lot of these people are getting past criminal prosecution when it comes to bullying. Okay, because they got this. And guess what this happens to be? This law is protected by the U.S. Constitution, freedom of speech. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean. Yeah, they hide behind the First Amendment. Okay, but the First Amendment covers only so much. I cannot walk into the Ward Center and be watching Batman Rising tomorrow night. I'm going to yell fire. Everybody run out so I can go watch the rest of the show in the front. Okay? No, cannot. That doesn't apply. First Amendment rights does not go and apply to individuals that goes into a crowded auditorium and yell fire. Okay? Insults, teasing, taunting, name calling, rumors, and lying. I put those two lines together. Local style, talking stink. It's not against the law. It's not against the law in the state of Hawaii. Slander and libel. Remember I talked about resolution? Has to be along civil proceedings for adults. Okay, a lot of times I get adults ask me about, hey, I've been bullied, I've been harassed. Slander and libel says, well, get an attorney and you gotta take them to court. Otherwise, you cannot call the police. Okay? Disclosure. Now that's the one that leads to the suicide. Okay, I get to usually the child. We are going back to teen suicide. The child has already things in their life that's kind of put them in a dysfunctional mode, either psychologically, emotional, or even physically dysfunctional, or all three. Okay, and then what happens? They go online to get support, because in the physical world, in their physical world, there's nobody to support them. So they're looking for support, they're looking for love in the wrong places. Okay? So they go online and they meet people who have are in the same position, and they develop a bond. Unfortunately, a lot of times you go into these places, the internet is like wearing a mask. It is wearing a mask. Anytime you have a device that's between you and someone you're communicating with, there's a mask, there's a veil. Okay? Like Judy and I, we're talking face to face. I know she's a female, she knows I'm a male. We're sharing this space right here. You put a device in between there, like a cell phone or a computer. I can be her, him. I can be an organization. Who is she communicating with? Who am I communicating with? Okay? And that's what happens when these children go on there looking for love in the wrong places. They don't know who they're communicating with. They're thinking they're getting befriended by a person who feels for them, and it finds out that person actually waiting to violate them. Okay? So when it comes to disclosure, some of these mean people, what they do is they prey on these individuals, these kids, get them to trust them. Okay? Start to tell them their inner, their desires and secrets and share with them and bond with them. And then, when the time is right, goes out and puts it online how weak, how vulnerable, how dumb, how stupid, how ugly they are. And you gotta understand, anytime you go on the internet, like myself, I'm on the internet, there are 2.2 billion users on the internet right now. What's the world's population? What was that?
6 billion.
6 billion. 2.2 billion users are on the internet at any given time. That's almost 1/3 of the world population. You know all of them, right? They all live in Hawaii, right? And they're all your friends. Yeah, the only one I know who's online right now is me. That's the only one I know, for sure. Everybody else, I don't know. Even on my cell phone. Even on your cell phone. Every time you get a text, a lot of you guys text, how you know the person that's texting you is the person they claim to be? I give you my text cell phone. In fact, I gotta watch Lauren She now. Oh, my security screen is not on. That's all right. I can dust footprints later on. She can be texting right now to everybody in my contact. Bang, bang, bang. And who are the recipients think they're receiving a text from? From me. From me. Short story. That what happened 7 months ago. A boy loaned his phone to his friend. His friend said he was going to call home to let them know they could be late, and they was playing basketball. The boy makes a call to the mom, I'm running late, Mom. Okay. But instead of giving the phone back to his friend, he started going to the contacts of the boy. He sees all the girls and texts them and says, I don't have any adults in them. I have no any juveniles in them. He texts saw about 8 girls. Show me your boobs. Show me your boobies. One girl did. Then he says, can you show more? Stupid kids, and another picture, this time full frontal nudity. Then the third text he sends, meet me at a certain location for a particular type of sex. This time the girl freaks out. The girl freaks out. This is not a real girl, this is a real girl who gets that. Okay? The boy does that. The girl who receives that freaks out, tells the parents, because the boy tells them, if you don't meet me, I'm going to put all the pictures on the internet. Girl freaks out, tells the mom, mom tells the dad, dad wants to find who the boy is and kick his Okole. But it was not him, it was his friend that did that. Girl was only 8th grade. Imagine that was your daughter, your sister. Okay, disclosure. Where I was going, disclosure. Yeah, so that's disclosure, and that's usually the one you read in the papers is that kids committing suicide because somebody disclosed something secret about them or something that they want to be shared with the public, and that information will lead to unwanted attention. Defacing a profile, which is basically hacking into somebody's account or changing things on Face, like. We had I had a case where a girl was, somebody went onto her page and, well, 2 girls, they're like middle school girls, they knew each other's password. At the time, they were using MySpace, Zanga. That was the grandfather of MySpace, and they knew each other's password. Those girls by now should be graduated from high school, from college in fact. But they were classmates, good friends, and what they did is that one girl was going on with the other girl's boyfriend without the other girl's knowledge. The other girl got mad, went onto her friend's page and called her one full-letter name, started with S and with T, and said that she gives oral sex to private school boys behind Palolo McDonald's. Defacing her profile. Changed her all the pictures, cut it up. Guess what she committed? 2 Class C felonies, according to our law books. Unauthorized computer access and computer damage. Both of them separate, each one is a separate offense. Class C, which means if they're over the age of 18, they're an adult, they can, if convicted, they can face penalties up to 5 years in imprisonment and or a $5,000 fine, just by simply defacing somebody's webpage. That's kind of ironic when you look at impersonation as only a misdemeanor, which you think is much more of a risk physically, impersonation, yeah. But in defense of the laws, we had that unauthorized access and computer damage. We had that laws in the law books since the early 90s. Okay. Again, too, impersonation only came on in 2008. Nobody ever thought these kids or adults would be using this kind of behavior and abuse and misuse technology to hurt each other. Okay, 5 minutes. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna pass it on to these ladies.
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
That's
cut off
fast.
really-
Oh, by the way, you get any questions? Any comments?
And then you can do this.
Or you got, yeah.
All that's listed right there, is that currently the loopholes in the law? Because you said that it's not a crime in the state of Hawaii. Is that in the law? Is that what you guys can do?
Which one?
Or is it just examples of cyberbullying?
These are preventing forms of
Their
cyberbullying.
question, so it'll show up on the video. Did you repeat the question?
She asked if,
Am I-
what I posted here on the examples of cyberbullying, is that law? No. The only one that is a criminal offense that's listed here is impersonation, threats, defacing profile. Okay? Now again, like I said, this is the most prevalent forms of cyberbullying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And only 3 of them are currently covered by Hawaii revised statutes. The 4th one, the last one, there's certain ways to make it criminal, or you become criminal. Okay, it's almost like, it's along the lines of being like a trespass warning. So, yeah, it can be, there's 4 and a possibility of the 5th one. Okay. But again, too, the one that's the most prevailing one, impersonation. Yes, it is a crime, but it's only a misdemeanor. The second most prevailing form of cyberbullying is number 3 and number 4. Insults, teasing, taunting, name calling, rumors, and lying. And that's not covered in Hawaii revised statutes. Okay?
I just want to make a comment that the biggest challenge in the legislature is clearly defining cyberbullying. That's why it's difficult, because it's so general, so broad, subjective to a lot of people. I just wanted to say that in defense of my colleagues who keep saying that.
That's not so much, that's not only in Hawaii, nationwide, that, they're coming to grasp an understanding about technology. Now you gotta understand, technology moves at nanoseconds. I mean, a blink of an eye, something changes. A new service comes up, a new piece of technology. And you know what? The social, the legal, the law, those issues are always catching up. No one ever thought about sexting, about impersonation, about identity theft when the internet was created back in 1986. Nobody thought about that. But now we're playing catch up. We're playing catch up. Okay. Any other questions?
You can ask more questions later.
Yeah. I won't be around here for lunch again.
Okay. Thank you, Chris, for that introduction. So my name is Fawn Liebengood, and then this is Lauren Mark. Forgive me, I'm a little bit under the weather today. I am the part of Dr. Truck Nguyen's School Internet Safety Initiative. We had a grant with the Department of Justice from 2009 to 2011, and during that time we collected data from California, Hawaii, Virginia, and Wyoming about internet safety and how often certain things like cyberbullying and sexting were going on in schools. So what we're going to do today is we're going to share some of that information with you, And since I am more of like the sexting person and I know a lot about sexting, Lauren knows a lot about cyberbullying, so I'm gonna let her do most of the talking. And then we also brought these little yellow handouts for you. So on the handout, we have information about cyberbullying, and this is all really good research information. Like Chris was starting to say earlier, is that the news, there's a lot of information out there about cyberbullying and sexting and sexual predators, things like that. And you hear so much information about it, sometimes it's hard to know what's good research and what isn't. So everything on there is good research. And if you wanted to ask me any questions about sexting later, I'd be happy to do that. And I'll turn it over to Lauren, and she's gonna talk more about cyberbullying for you.
Thank you, thanks. So we're from the College of Education, so needless to say that we're advocates for education. So we try to do a lot of like workshops and we do a lot of guest speaking but mostly for educators and parents. And so this is a great opportunity for us to talk to the community and youth advocates like all of you. So this is a great forum for us. So some previous workshops that we've done, we have done all of our workshops at the University of Hawaii, and so our very first one was just a general workshop on cyberbullying, sexting, and online impersonation, and and piracy, yes, online piracy. And then our second event was updating your acceptable use policies, and this is for schools, and all schools need to have policies in place, and that's a very important first step for schools. So whether you're a private school, I guess specifically for private schools, you should have your own policies in place, and then for public schools, you have to follow Chapter 19, but also have a plan of action as well. And then our very most recent workshop that we had was a school family partnership workshop, and it was talking about creating, school cyber safety action teams, which is a very important thing because we need the participation of parents, working together with administrators and teachers, and then having the community involved as well is very important. So Chris talked a lot about cyberbullying, just the general stuff, but the information on this yellow handout, we took a lot of the data from the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, because that's the most recent and up-to-date information that we have. And so, as you can see, females reported that they cyberbully or had been cyberbullied more so than males. And then we have our own multimedia youth victimization study, and that was our own study that Fawn talked briefly about, and so that's our data. So basically, awareness is the key, and we're trying to talk to as many people as possible, provide our current statistics for all of you, and just keep you up to date with really what's going on. Do you want to talk about online sexual predators?
Do you have time?
I don't know.
How much time do we have left?
We've got 45 minutes for lunch.
Oh, wow.
Keep talking, and then when we run out of things to say, then we'll have some questions and
What do you want to keep talking about?
comments from the audience.
Do you guys have a lot of questions? Yes, no, just say something.
There's no real format.
So I'm curious, how many of you guys are school faculty? You work with schools? Raise your hand. How many of you guys are parents? Raise your hand. Okay, more. Who else do we have here? Why are you interested in cyberbullying and bullying and teen suicide?
Youth program, after school youth program.
I don't know. Does anyone have any burning questions back there?
Okay, what was your question?
Is there anything that, if your family member or somebody is being cyberbullied, is there anything that you can do other than just printing out the evidence and talking to the police? Is there follow-up that can be made?
If your family member,
Yeah, like, okay, if they're being cyberbullied, for example, on Facebook, and then you print out the evidence, what do you do after that? Do you deal with it on your own, or what is the follow-up regarding that?
It all depends on the form of cyberbullying. Okay, if it's, like I said, if it's name calling, then pretty much you have to take it maybe as you have to look at it from a point where you have to look at it from a social or familial response. Okay, if it's a family member, it says like, is the perpetrator another family member, or is it another student? See, that's the kind of questions you're going to ask. Okay, is it the student? Did it go to the same school? Okay. Now the thing is, a high percentage, just like over 90% of all the cyberbullying, if not all of it, happens off campus. It materializes on campus. So that's one of the things that the educators are confronted with, is that you're going to have families where it says, you cannot tell me how to run my household because all this is happening. Because the kids, no way they're going to be able to, if the school does it right, which is most schools in Hawaii, they can't cyberbully or misuse the computer systems to do the cyberbullying in the state. Okay, so they're going to do it all at home. Guess what they're using? The computers and the cell phones and the services provided by their parents. Okay, so for your response, my response for you would be, find out who this perpetrator is, and maybe contact the school. Tell this is another student. One, tactfully contact the other party's parents, because they may not know. In fact, they probably don't know. A lot of times when I get situations where the child is being victimized, now the parents want to take up, and they get mad. They have this assumption that the parents letting their kids bully other people, their kids. They probably don't know that. Being a parent, not that I am a parent, but parent to parent, that's the way you got to talk to them, tactfully tell them, you understand, your child is doing this, okay? And then maybe I'm not saying the school is obligated to do that. Maybe you can ask the school somebody, or maybe somebody who can offer the services in this room to act as a mediator to give you a safe haven, okay? Because I can see the school from a school point of view, okay? If I say, what school? Say Kaiser. I just picked a school, Kaiser High School. Reason being, I just had something involved over there. But Kaiser High School, okay? They want to do something like that. I told them, wait, I can see liabilities happening to the school, because if I have the two families together and it ends in a fist fight, guess what happened? Liability issue to the school, the Department of Education, to the state of Hawaii. So I told the VP, time out. Let me mediate. I pick one safe haven, well, not a safe haven. I pick a middle ground of my choosing. I told the two parents, two set of parents, the kids, hey, I'm here at this particular place, come meet me and talk. And I says, you guys sit down, I'll go to the next table, playing on my computer, drinking my coffee, and make sure that you guys don't kill each other, okay? The parents will kind of ease the tension between the families and explain and talk it out. And then if they need me to talk in, interject, then I'll talk in. Okay? I've done this several times before, okay? A lot of times my friends in law enforcement and the legal community and people who are close friends of mine, they say, Chris, you crazy. You're gonna get your okoli sued one of these days. I tell, well, one of these days when it happens, it happens. But in the meantime, I ain't sitting on my okoli with nothing and do nothing, right? So, plus, I move all my financial funds to my wife's name. In case I'm ready to get sued, she can divorce me, she get everything. And hopefully she give me some allowance afterwards. Right? So I gotta be good to her. But no, a lot of these cases, you're gonna have to come to, you cannot, good start. You see the screen, you see the printout, you see the threads. Print it out. Because and if you set your printer right, when you print out, there's a date time stamp on it, okay? So if the perpetrator finds out that you guys are gonna start some kind of investigation or whatever, they may erase everything, but you still got the hard copy, okay? And then we can at least start an investigation if it turns criminal. Yeah?
Okay, in continuation for that, so for example, so if it happens on Facebook or off campus, and then they post something, and other kids are posting, now, like what you said, this person is posting all these things, everybody else is getting on it, everybody getting all hyped up, thinking that that's true. Now, when the student that is being cyberbullied goes to school, then they start taunting the student Then what do you do?
Then the school comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, because the taunting is physically happens on the school. So now the school can address that. But once they go off campus, and the taunting is off campus, like at the mall, on the streets, at the bus stop, you know, that's the hard part. And the thing is that I go on my Facebook page, I get one about, it's a cartoon, it's kind of humorous, but it's serious in a way, is that if you go to my site, there's a hand in the water, like the person is drowning, and everybody's on a shore with their cell phones taking picture. Yeah, I mean, because of the fact that we're in a different perspective, seeing that as a cartoon, but in this scenario, when you guys know the issues and how the severity of cyberbullying, is not funny. But that's the thing, is that a lot of the cyberbullying, I may have an issue, say Reggie and I have an issue with bullying each other. Guess what? All our friends are on side watching, and they're not stepping in. In fact, they're taking pictures, or they're pushing us to fight more, you know? And that's the thing, just, you know, a lot of times the worst violators are the stand-byers, who are not doing nothing, who are actually antagonizing or adding more fuel to the fire. And even after the fact, we become friends. That online thing goes on and on, not knowing that, hey, we're friends again. See? Good question. But, you know, if you get any doubts about if it's a crime or not, email me. That's one of the things I do. No charge, really, no charge. No. What I do, I was explaining to Julian, and if you guys don't know what my interest is in, my passion is that there's two groups, my two demographics I try to help protect and educate is the KK and the Kapunas. Not only in Hawaii, not only in the United States, any place, anywhere. I do not charge. Okay? Okay, but if you is in corporate America, you're gonna take a major hit, I tell you. Major hit. Okay, because you guys fuel, the major corporations fuel why I can do this. That's why, you know, like I say, I'm not rich or nothing, but whatever I make from corporate America just frees me time to work with you folks. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Taffy. I'm a local trans woman and young as well. But I wanted to make mention that I didn't hear too much mention of LGBT youth. And I know there's a lot of bullying happening, and as a AIDS service organization, we see the young trans women or people get bullied completely out of school with no family support, with no school support. They just drop out. It's a lot easier. They just go get a job on the street, do whatever they have to do, and that's when we end up seeing them at 13, 14 years old. So I just wanted to make mention that a lot of times our LGBT youth are bullied to where they don't even get the support from the school or never from their family, and they are banished pretty much to find a network amongst each other. And I know there's a lot of allies here, so I just wanted to mention that.
I'm glad you brought that up. Just before, I just got back from the Pacific Northwest doing some work with RCMP, and before I left, something that I hope would have never happened in Hawaii was that one of our keiki became a victim of cyberbullying and took their own life. It was Mr. Elizares here. He was in Austin. Yeah. And then we had the march, the memorial march and candlelight vigil about 3 weeks ago, Magic Island. Real sad that, you know, one of our young, you always think, nah, it's not gonna happen to Hawaii. Yeah, even though it didn't happen on our soil, he was still one of our own kids. We gotta stop that from happening. Gotta stop that from happening. And even though it's not, when, you know, getting involved, there has to be family, there has to be blood. It's gotta just have a little. Any questions?
Oh, Chris.
Oh, no.
You got a question for me?
No, I wanted to address, advocates for education, I really feel like students from a young age need to be taught about tolerance and acceptance of everybody, and that's part of what digital citizenship is. It's about being a good global citizen online as well as offline. And so digital citizenship curriculum involves a lot of character education, empathy, because online there's a lack of empathy. I mean, you're behind a screen, that veil, and so just learning about tolerance and empathy and feeling for, you don't want to be teased, so why are you going to tease someone else? And I feel like from a very young age, it's not about the technology, it's about human behavior. And as mental health professionals or youth advocates, we need to start talking to these kids from a very young age that, if you see someone who is not the same as you, you need to be accepting of it. And I used to be a preschool teacher, and I saw bullying happen with 2- and 3-year-olds because, there were some kids, there was one child who could be on the autism spectrum, and these other kids just bullied him, and it looks so subtle, like to any other person who's not aware so much about bullying, they may not even notice it, or they might think it's just a normal occurrence. But I think we need zero tolerance when it comes to bullying or just being mean to each other and saying mean things. And I'm glad that there are groups that support young kids, because we need to be accepting of everyone. That's what I think. But also, I forgot to mention on the back of this yellow sheet at the bottom where it says our focus areas. Those are not just our focus areas, but I think that these are areas that I think all people should know. So we should all be aware of cyber issues. So we need to educate ourselves or get training or go to workshops. But we also need to encourage digital citizenship. So it's not about the technology, it's about us and how we relate to other people. And we need to empower bystanders. So there are 3 categories of people. There are victims, bullies, and bystanders. And if we can empower the bystanders to tell and not be afraid to tell because of repercussions, then I think, because peers will watch out for their peers. And so that's a very important, so bystanders are an important key. And then school, family, community partnerships, that's what, at UH, we're trying to build these relationships between these 3 separate groups, but we need to bring them together and have them just start the discourse and start talking to each other. And then policymakers, we need laws, because right now these issues are not enforceable. So we need to, and how do we enforce the unenforceable? We need to learn more about it and be educated and just be aware. The awareness is the key, I think, just to know that stuff is going on and we can't ignore it. So, thank you.
Oh, question.
I'm also interested in LGBT youth and the bullying and harassment of LGBT youth, which has had large media coverage in recent years, but this has always been going on. In order to help shine a light in that area and get funding and attention to it, we need data. So one of the focus areas I think that I would like to suggest is data initiatives. And my question is, do you know of any specific data initiative right now, data gathering, let's say nationally, what are the approaches to try to get a handle on related to bullying and cyberbullying, how many LGBT youth are involved, just getting statistics that we can use.
We were just talking about that this morning. Fawn is doing a sexting study, and I came up with this question. I was like, I wonder if there's a difference between LGBT youth and non-LGBT youth, and so there are not a lot of studies, empirical, studies with statistics out there. So cyberbullying has a lot out there, but it's really hard to find the good ones. And with sexting, it's even a more current issue, and there's even less data out there. So I don't know,
Think you could start something?
Yeah,
you
we're
could
constantly
be
looking for
forefront.
funding. If you know of anyone who would like to contribute some research funds to us, no, but that's definitely something we'd be interested in, is doing more studies specifically on cyberbullying and sexting in different populations, like male versus female, homosexual versus heterosexual, things like that. Because Lauren is more of the expert, but the LGBTQ youth are definitely more cyberbullied than heterosexual students and adolescents.
I would think disclosure and either subject to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the thing with a lot of surveys out there, that's how you get all these big numbers, is through self-report surveys. And sometimes there aren't questions, they don't even have those questions on there. So, we might have to embark on, we need to add just another question, But yeah, but this disclosure is an issue too. So we will have to work around that.
So, and then, sorry. And then just on the topic of sexting, we're currently working on getting a couple questions on cyberbullying and sexting put on the 2014 Youth Risk Behavior Survey. So the one that just came out that had all the cyberbullying data on it. Lauren and I wrote a couple questions for that survey, so hopefully, cross your fingers, we'll have more information on that. And that's a nationwide survey, and it's partnered with the CDC. Yes. Anybody else have any questions?
I was just going to you took the words right out of my mouth. My name is Nancy Kern. I'm with the Department of Health. I'm the Suicide Prevention Coordinator. And as far as data around bullying and cyberbullying,
Nancy, why don't you come up and use the mic?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to say, good morning, everybody, and certainly all of a sudden faced with all these faces, some old friends here, meeting some new people as well. That when we're looking at surveys and looking to gain information, particularly around LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender youth, I think one of the most effective means for doing this is through YRBS, the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, because YRBS is something that is done every other year. It's done across the country, and the results in Hawaii are compared with the results in all other states. There are currently, as we know, and Judy mentioned them earlier, there are questions related to, are you bullied because you're LGBT, because you're perceived as LGBT? But there are ways to, as you were saying, add other questions, particularly related to cyberbullying, and those probably need to be added at this point. There is a person in the Department of Health, her name is Tanya, I believe it's Tanya St. John, who is coordinating the questions for the 2014 Youth Risk Behavior Survey. So if you contact me, I could put you in touch with her. She's a very community-oriented and community-based person who is looking for input from people who are interested in these issues. My phone number is 733-9238. If you give me a call, I'll give you her email address. Judy had asked me earlier to just mention a couple of things related to bullying and risk for suicide. And I've been in my position now for about 2.5 years, so I am no expert. I'm learning all the time. But one of the things that comes up constantly related to being at risk for suicide are youth who abuse alcohol and other drugs. If they've already attempted a suicide, if there's been a suicide attempt in their family. And probably number one is a youth who has some sort of a mental health diagnosis. Even though maybe it's not diagnosed, but it is present, that is a huge risk for suicide. Now notice that I didn't say bullying, because I agree with the speakers here today that bullying is a variable in suicide, but probably not a cause. Now there are certainly youth out there in our community and elsewhere who are bullied, who do end up taking their own lives. But the truth is that, or research shows, that the vast majority of youth who are bullied will not take their own lives. And why is that? And that's, I think, one of the research questions that needs to be answered. What are those resiliency factors that some youth have that others don't? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it supportive teachers and other adults in their lives? And that's, I think, a huge question. I did want to say also that there was a study done by Yale University in, I think it was 2010, that determined that there was a link between bullying and suicide. And not to say that every youth who's been bullied is going to consider taking their own lives, but there's a definite link there, so that whatever we can do to decrease bullying in our state, in our country, is going to make a huge difference to those students who have other risky behaviors or risks to deal with, like a mental health diagnosis, or such as abuse of alcohol or other drugs. And it's maybe, as somebody said earlier, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe the student is in pain, is at risk, and the bullying could be the one variable that unfortunately puts them over the edge. So bullying is the one thing that all of us can work on to decrease, that is really going to make a difference to kids out there who are at risk. So I just want to, I wasn't going to get up here and speak, but Judy actually asked me at the last minute because Antonio wasn't there. So I scribbled like a page of notes. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Oh yeah, the one other thing that Taffy had mentioned was LGBT youth. And LGBT youth are at increased risk for suicide because they're bullied, generally speaking, more than other youth. So that's another piece that we need to look at in the bullying arena. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy, for letting me put you on the spot. At this point, I'd like to bring up Robert Olagi to talk about a project that one of our legislators has initiated.
Good morning. I'm with Hawaii Student Television. I'm also on the board of Hawaii Youth Services Network. Nevertheless, Kimberly Pine has approached HSTV, along with a couple of her colleagues from the Hawaii Kai Chamber of Commerce, to tackle this problem via video, broadcasting, some PSAs, trying to do some videos to educate the students and so forth on this. So if anybody's interested, please do see me, and we'll connect the dots and make it happen, okay? Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Judith?
Yes.
I have a question, this gentleman, what is that? I've never heard of that network.
Which network is that?
What you're referring to?
Oh, Hawaii Student Television, we're
Yeah,
on our
what is
7th year.
Yes.
Hawaii Student Television, basically we're on our 7th year. We're endorsed with the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. We've done productions for the community, everything from commercials for the Super Ferry when they were in town to Wally Amos's Chip and Cookie commercial. We did a video for Hawaii Youth Services Network on HIV, which got international and national awards, and we continue to show it around the state. We basically go out into the community, get productions for students who create from KK all the way up to university level, work with after-school programs, give them financial support, and an education to inspire them. We also bring in local film and television professionals to oversee the projects. This not only guarantees the kids an education, but also broadcast quality. It's a win-win situation because we also give a stipend to the mentor, which helps support the local film and television industry. So this way our kids don't run off to Hollywood or New York, hopefully, and have a job when they graduate. But nevertheless, does that answer your question? Okay, and I have a packet if anyone's interested.
Okay. So see Robert during lunch, I guess. I actually have one question that I'd like to pose to you, and that is, what advice would you give to parents on how to protect and educate their children on this issue?
I'll go first. Do you want to team up? I'll let Lauren think about her answer for a little bit, but I think we're going to say about the same thing. My advice to parents is to be aware. There's more when you read news media and news stories about cyberbullying or sexting or whatever it is, just don't take it at first glance. Like, think a little bit about it. Read news media stories from different places, you know, not just Fox News, not just MSNBC, like different internet sources. Also, it's really important to talk to your kids and have an open door. You know, if there's anything that they need to talk about, let them know that you won't think there's anything wrong with them if they come to you, if they're being cyberbullied, and that you'll work with them to solve the issue and to make their school or wherever they're being cyberbullied a safer place.
Well, you know, research has shown that the majority of kids do not want to tell a parent or a teacher that they are being bullied. So if a kid comes to you, whether it's your own kid or a student or a youth that you're working with, it takes a lot of courage for them to admit that they're being victimized. And so I think that a tip is to not belittle that piece of information, no matter how small or trivial you think the problem is, like, oh, someone called me a name, you know, you still need to show that you're supporting that child, and that builds that level of trust between you and the child, because if they don't trust going to an adult to say something, they will not reveal that, and so you may never know what's going on under the surface. So not to trivialize things, and what's going on? Sorry. So whether the issue is big or small, it's better to, you know, check it out and be wrong, and then to not do anything.
I think I just posted the answer someplace here on Facebook a couple of days ago, when one of my fellow cyber safety advocates said, you know, we belong to this forum, and she asked me to make a small comment about what, you know, if I had to give advice to the parents, what would be advice I give to parents. And one was that for the younger keiki, I always advise, you know, I look at software, parental software, monitoring software as like choosing car seats. Okay, they soon outgrow it. Okay, then what are you gonna do now? So for a younger keiki, yeah, it's mandatory that you have some kind of monitoring, parental control software enabled on the computers and the devices they use. But it's not to be relied on solely, okay? You have to follow up with good, old-fashioned, hands-on parenting. That's the key. Because soon they're gonna outgrow the software, they're gonna outgrow the device. And what if they're not using that cell phone or a computer that has all these precautions on it? What if they're visiting their cousins, or their brothers, or their sisters, the older siblings? So we have to instill in them ethical and moral behavior, and it starts at home. And it's not by waha, it's by example. You know, I talked to a bunch of kids yesterday at Farrington, the summer bridge program. And these are the kids that are going from middle school to high school in Farrington. They're from Kwanakawa, Dole Intermediate. I ended with them advising them about parents. And it's nothing to do with cyber. It has to do about role models. I told them that no child should ever be afraid of going to their parent for any kind of help, no matter what it is. If there is something wrong where you cannot go to mommy and daddy for help, there's something wrong with your family. And I say the same thing to the parents. If your child cannot come to you for help, it's your problem, not theirs. Your child should never be afraid. No sports figure, no model, no actors, no actresses are the heroes. Every child's hero should be mommy and daddy. Whether they're 10 years old, 2 months old, or they're 200 years old. Okay, so like I said, that's my advice. Candice is with their program, HPD. This is only one of many resources.
Candice, would you mind coming up here and talking into the mic so everyone can hear you?
The police department does have the DARE program, and we do actually do internet and cyberbullying presentations. In fact, We just came from one from a private school from Mid-Path. We do present to parents, we do present to students. The problem with that is this, and the schools all know this, whoever works in a school. You can ask the parents to come, you can offer them food, you can offer them anything that you think will bring them there. But you are lucky if you will get a handful of parents that will actually make the time to show up. My thing is, and I've been asking our department, is there has to be some type of, if private schools can force parents to come to learn something, and then tell them if you don't come, your child will not be able to walk, then we need to do something as public schools to get the parents to come out to hear some of these messages. You know, if you tell them, if you don't come to so many classes and you don't reach at least these 3 key classes or whatever it is, and you don't show up, your child won't go on field trips. I bet you'll have parents come. But it's gotta be to a point where the parents feel the need that if they don't, something will happen that's not beneficial to them or their children. Until that happens, you're not gonna get parents to come out. We have presentations at public, private, elementary, middle, high school, and we can't get the parents to come out. That's what we need. You can get the teachers to come out all the time, right? You just can't get the parents. Until you get the parents to buy in and to come to our presentations, it's never gonna happen because it's out there. We offer it to everybody. It's whether they're gonna come or not. That's what we have to work on, is how to get them to come to us.
I'd like to mention a couple of initiatives that are going on in relation to bullying and violence prevention. State Senator Suzanne Chun Oakland has established an anti-bullying task force, which is meeting periodically. If you would like to be part of that, give her office a call at 586-6130, I believe it is. Also, Hawaii Youth Services Network has so far in the past year conducted 2 full-day workshops on bullying and violence prevention. One here in Honolulu last October and one on Maui in June of 2012. We currently are writing grant applications to local foundations seeking funds to